Hi, fourth graders. Today you guys have been working on something called benchmark fractions. I saw some of you completed it on Khan Academy, and some people haven't gotten to it yet, and that's okay. I just wanted to go over it a little bit because I think it got a little bit confusing, and I wanted to show you how helpful it can be in comparing fractions. So what a benchmark fraction is, it's when you're thinking about a fraction, it's one that you can relate to. It's one that you always know is certain. So for example, I always know that 4/4 is going to be 1 whole. You know why I know that? Because I know that when the numerator and the denominator are the same, it's always 1 whole. I also know that on a number line that we start with 0, and I always know that 1/2 is in between 0 and 1. So how that can help me when I'm working on fractions is if I see something like 5/4, I see that the numerator is bigger than the denominator. And if that's true, that means that this is greater than 1. Because if I know 1 is 4/4, then 5/4 is somewhere over here. It would be the 5th bunny hop. So that can help me when I'm working out with these. So let's take a look at the number line I've made. So if I know that this is 1/2 and this is 4/4, I'm going to try to use my bunny hops to help me figure out where 5/4 is. So I know that this would be here, 1/4, 1 bunny hop. This would be 1/2, which is the same thing as 2/4, because 1 bunny hop, 2 bunny hops. This is the second out of 4 bunny hops to get to the finish line, which is 1 whole at 4/4. So let's do another one. All right, this is the third bunny hop out of 4, so that's 3/4. And then finally, we've gotten to the finish line at 1. We have 4/4. So I know that to get to 5/4, I would have to do 1 more. So that tells me that this is bigger than 1. So that's kind of how we use benchmark fractions. We use fractions that we know. We always know that 1/2 is in between 0 and 1. And we know that when the numerator is greater than the denominator, we know it's bigger than 1. So I printed off here some of the problems that you could be getting on Khan Academy to help you. So let's see what this says. It says graph 5/4 and 7/8 on the number line to show how each fraction relates to 1. So what it wanted you to do was to click the dot. So you would click this dot on Khan Academy. And I see that I have 2 options, 5/4 and 7/8. Well, just looking at 5/4, I see that the numerator is greater than the denominator. So I know that it's bigger than 1. So this would be 5/4. And that means that this one must be 7/8. Because it's not quite 1 yet. It would have 1 more hop to get to 1 at 7/8. So now down here, I can compare. So I know if 5/4 is past 1, then it's definitely going to be greater than 7/8. So on Khan Academy, you would click down on this little button, and you would choose the one that looks like this, because 5/4 is greater than 7/8. So let's try another one. This one said graph 4/3 and 3/4 as they relate to 1. So I'm going to do the same thing. I know that these are my fractions, 4/3, and this is 3/4. Well, 4/3, I see that once again, the numerator is greater than the denominator, which means that it's going to be past 1, because 3/3 would be 1. So on here, I would graph 4/3. So you click the button on Khan Academy and select 4/3, which means that this one must be 3/4. So we'd mark that one. So when you look at these 2 dots, which one is bigger? Well, I see that this one is past 1. So that means that 4/3 is greater than 3/4. All right, so those ones are a little bit simple, but then it got really hard. And I'm going to show you this one with the character Ellie. So it says Ellie compared 4/7 and 5/3 by looking at 1/2 and 1, just like we just talked about. So on a number line, you know that you have 0, 1/2, we always know that, and 1. And then we can get past 1 too, which is what this looks like. So let's see in step 1 what Ellie did. she said that 4/7 is less than 1. Well, I agree, because 4/7 is less than 1 because 7/7 is equal to 1. So is 4/7 less than 1? Yes. Well, let's see if 4/7 is more than 1/2. So I'm going to compare 4/7 to 1/2, and I'm going to use my trick to help me. I'm going to cross multiply. 7 times 1 is 7. 2 times 4 is 8. So is 4/7 more than 1/2? Yes, it is, because I have here that 4/7 is greater. 8 is bigger than 7. So step 1, Ellie did absolutely a great job. Let's look what she did next. She said 5/3 is more than 1. Well, I know that's true, because 3/3 is 1 whole, and we see that the numerator is greater than the denominator. So because of that, we know that that's 1. So we know that Ellie is correct there. All right, let's look at the last one. 4/7 is greater than 5/3. Let's check her work. I'm going to use cross multiplication. 7 times 5 is 35. 4 times 3 is 12. So let's see. 35 is greater than 12. So that is wrong. Ellie made a mistake here. 5/3, which is greater than 1, would be the bigger number. So she made an incorrect error in step 3. So I think I have one more printed off. This one is with Tom. So it's the same thing. We are looking here to see what she found. She's looking at 2/12, and she's looking at 7/6, and she's comparing it to 1/2 and 1. So we know we have 0 at the beginning, 1/2 in the middle, 1, and these other numbers can be above 1. So let's check step 1 out. 2/12 is less than 1/2. Well, I'm going to check that out. I have 2/12 and I have 1/2. All right, 12 times 1 is 12. 2 times 2 is 4. Well, I know that 4 is less than 12, so that step she did correctly. 12/12 is less than 1/2. Let's check out the next step. 7/6 is less than 1. That is a problem right there. You know why? Because 6/6 is 1 whole, which means 7/6 is bigger than 1, not smaller than 1, because the numerator here, 7, is greater than 6. So if the numerator is bigger than the denominator, it's bigger than 1. So Ellie's mistake was in step 2. So the most important thing I want you to get out of today is when you see a fraction, 7/6, 8/3, when you see that the numerator is bigger than the denominator, you know it's bigger than 1. So you can place it past 1 on the number line. If you have any more questions, please let me know. Please feel free to email me, or you can Zoom me if you want and sign up for a time. So I will talk to you guys later.